Right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday evening, on this rainy Wednesday evening. We are so excited to have you here tonight. My name is Drew, and I'm the Birth to 5 Programming Manager in the Early Childhood Division here at DCPS, and I'll be helping to host tonight's session of Ready for Pre-K, More Than Just 1, 2, 3, Building Children's Thinking Skills and Preparing for Math. And I have some awesome facilitators who are on tonight to help us with this session as well. Before we get started, obviously we are hosting tonight's session in Zoom. These sessions are recorded, so for that reason, we have disabled the camera feature for participants so that we don't accidentally capture any embarrassing mishaps. However, there are times during the sessions where we'll invite you to unmute if you'd prefer to share. We definitely encourage you to use the Q&A box throughout the session, enter your questions, comments, anything that you would like to share with the group. And then afterwards, once we have recorded the session, we will post it on YouTube. So for families who weren't able to join this evening, they'll be able to view the recording of that. All right. And I also want to note that we do have simultaneous Spanish interpretation this evening. And so I'm going to ask my colleague Florence to make a quick announcement in Spanish about how to access the interpretation function.
Sí, buenas noches a las familias. Si ustedes hablan español, tenemos interpretación en español y ahí en el chat las instrucciones están ahí. Gracias, Tania, por ponerlas, porque ustedes pueden seleccionar español y así tener la interpretación si lo necesitan. Gracias, Tania.
Perfect. Thank you, Florence. All right, and so we like to start off all of our sessions of Ready for Pre-K with just a couple community agreements. We ask that you be kind and be patient and be open. We are so committed to making sure that this forum is a place where everyone feels welcome and valued and respected. So please keep those agreements in mind as we move through tonight's content. And with that, I'm going to introduce our facilitators for this evening. I'd like to note that we do have Florence on, who will be helping to moderate the chat this evening. So please don't be shy about entering any questions that you have, or if you need technical assistance. And with that, I will pass it over to Whitney.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Whitney Hollins. I'm an ECE instructional specialist with DCPS. And you'll be hearing a little bit from me after everyone else introduced themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Chivar, and I'm also an instructional coach for the ECE program in DCPS. And I'm excited to talk with you all about math tonight.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kalpana Kumar Sharma. I'm an early childhood educator at Brightwood Education Campus. I'm also the team leader, and I'm here to share some strategies that you can do at home and also some fun, exciting things that we do in classroom.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video so that you guys can focus on Whitney. And Whitney, we will go ahead and get started.
Sure. All right, so this slide says, be honest. Before we get started, we just want to ease you into this math talk by acknowledging that many adults aren't as comfortable with math as they are with other aspects of their child's development. So do me a favor and just take a minute and drop an emoji in the chat how you feel about math. Smiley face, okay face, brain exploding, however you feel, just drop it in the chat. All right, perfect. So I'm seeing, I got at least one thumbs up. A heart. Oh, Megan, I'm so excited. Yes, Flo, I can definitely relate. Some sweat, especially as your children get older. It can be difficult, very hard. Yes. All right. So all those are great answers, and you can continue to pop them in the chat if you're thinking or looking. All right, so lucky for us, pre-K math skills aren't quite algebra 2 or calculus yet, but they do lay an important foundation for these skills to build on. And as Ms. Kumar will show you later, we promise that even math can be fun, okay? So Drew, you can move to the next slide, which is Math is everywhere. Perfect, thank you. All right, so math is absolutely everywhere. So often when we think of math, we start thinking about these long and complicated number sentences and equations, but math is truly everywhere, and we use it in so many aspects of our lives without even thinking about it, right? We use it almost every day, and sometimes it becomes so automatic to us that we don't even realize that we're using math or doing math. So from the moment that children are born, babies begin to form ideas about math through everyday experiences and exploring the world around them. In the first few years of their lives, children learn basic language of math. They learn how to support them in developing more advanced concepts such as adding, taking away, subtraction, quantifying, and classifying. So our goal tonight is to help parents and caregivers see that math and critical thinking can be fun, and it's actually pretty easy to incorporate into your everyday lives. And so much of it is already happening. So what you're probably going to see tonight is that some of the things that you already do, we're going to be talking about, and you may not even realize that you've been doing it. So sometimes it's easy to forget all the ways that we as adults use math each and every day without even thinking about it. So stop and think for a minute. Think about your day. When do you use math? And you can go ahead and put your thoughts in the chat box or unmute to share out. And I can give you an example. Today I went to Starbucks and I brought 2 cake pops and a green tea matcha, and I had to decide how I was going to pay for it. And I was like, okay, I have a $10 bill. Is this going to be enough to cover it, or do I have to use my card? So there are lots of different ways that we use math every day. And just stop and think about it for a minute. And if you used it today, pop it in the chat. Counting steps each day, yes. I might need to get on that one. Figuring out your mileage for the day, yes. All of those things, right? So as you can see on the slide, we use math in our everyday lives. So people use it in various places. You guys mentioned a lot of activities that you do, counting steps, counting mileage, paying for things. And it can be found in our real lives, right? Making that connection between learning and what we do in school and our everyday lives. So often our children are right there with us when we're doing these things. They're in our kitchens while we're cooking. They hear us talking about the weather. They see us checking the temperature of a bath or taking a walk to the playground and seeing all the signs and the symbols throughout our communities. So math is all around us, and even our youngest children are exposed to mathematical concepts in so many parts of their lives. So when we talk about math concepts for young children, what do we mean exactly? We tend to think of simple math equations such as 1 + 1 = 2 as the first kind of math that children learn, when in fact there are many skills and concepts that children discover before they ever get to formal addition and subtraction, and honestly, before they ever get to formal schooling. In the first 3 years of lives, children work on developing several concepts related to math skills and critical thinking as they grow and get ready to enter the world of pre-K 3. So let's take a closer look at some of the math and critical thinking skills that your child might be working on as they prepare for pre-K. And to do that, I'm going to pass to Megan, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about those math and critical thinking skills.
Uh-oh, do we have Megan on?
I'm not sure, but while I'm waiting, I can tell you that some people said deducting morning coffee for my balance, check the speed limit. Checking the speed limit is a good one because it could save you some math too. No one wants to be paying out for speeding tickets.
All right. Let me know because I can't see who's on. Is there anything from Megan? Did she accidentally get dropped off, or is she
I still
muted?
see her on here, but it's muted. Do you want me to move on to the next slide until she hops on?
Yes. Or Megan, if you can unmute, just interrupt us. Perfect.
Yeah, feel
Thank
free to
you.
interrupt me at any time, Megan. Sorry, I think I muted myself now.
You think we'd have this figured out after 2 years in, but
Right.
we'll get there.
This is why you can't get frustrated with your kids on virtual learning when they're not doing something, because even the adults who have been doing it for years haven't fully grasped the concept. All right, so early math is much more than just 1, 2, 3. Some early math concepts include number and operations, shapes and spatial relationships, and measurement. But what exactly does this mean? So for numbers and operations, this includes counting, determining the quantity of things. How many apples do I have? How many oranges do I have? Putting items in order. You could put them in order from tallest to shortest. Experimenting with ways of representing numbers, and one-to-one correspondence. The knowledge that one object corresponds to one number. The opportunities to explore these concepts might present itself while you play. For instance, telling your child, you have 2 eyes and so does the bear. Let's count. 1, 2 is an example of counting and quantifying or assigning a numerical value to a group of objects. Shapes and spatial relationships may also be a skill that your child is developing. I know that it's a skill I love to practice with my son when he was younger. So this is recognizing and naming shapes in the environment. That's a circle, that's a square, this is a triangle, as well as understanding that the physical relationship between yourself and other objects and the relationship between objects. So this is called spatial relationships. While outside, you might comment to your child, look, you're on top of the slide, or I see your toy puppy is under the bench. And using that language and that vocabulary and for them to understand math language is very important as well. Measurement includes recognizing size, weight, quantity, volume, and time. So at this age, children are not thinking in terms of inches, pounds, or minutes, but they are starting to learn concepts such as more or less, longer versus shorter. So for example, you might hear your child say, mommy is taller than me, or this chair is heavier than my toy. This movie is longer than a show. And can you move to the next slide for me?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Megan's having some technical difficulties, so she's trying to get back in. Whitney, are you okay to keep going?
Yeah, I'm fine until she can come on and she
Awesome.
can interrupt me.
Perfect.
All right, so again, more than just 1, 2, 3, we have patterns, relationship and change, and collecting, organizing information. So I'm going to go into a little bit about what each of those are. So patterns include recognizing the repetition of objects, events, colors, lines, textures, and even sounds. Your child might notice patterns on clothing or hear patterns in the language of a book. Relationship and change can be the understanding that some things change over time, and that change can be described with math words. So for example, the plant grew after the rain, or if we add more ice, it will cool the water down. Collecting and organizing information includes gathering, sorting, classifying, and analyzing information or data to help make sense of what is happening in the environment. So you might suggest to your child while cleaning up, let's put the dolls in the basket and the balls in the box. So right now you may be starting to think, well, how am I supposed to work on all of these things with my child at home? Because that is a lot of different skills. But don't worry, these things are already actually occurring throughout your day. Just like I discussed at the beginning of the presentation, the trick is to draw attention to them by mathematizing. So you might be wondering, what is mathematizing, right? What is it? How can I do this with my toddler? So our role as parents and caregivers is to build on to your child's natural curiosity and enhance their understanding of math and critical thinking by helping your child to make connections, introducing new vocabulary, and focusing their attention on specific concepts by mathematizing. You might be asking yourself, what is mathematizing and how can I do this with my toddler? So not to worry, mathematizing is a big word, but it's a really simple concept. When we mathematize, we are looking for ways to increase mathematical language. And since math is everywhere, this can be really easy to do. Mathematizing language not only helps to build your young children's math and critical thinking skills, but it also provides rich opportunities to increase your children's vocabulary, which is helpful for language and literacy development. So it's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. All of which, as we know, has a positive impact on your children's success in school. So it will be really helpful when they actually get into a formal school setting. So Drew, can we move? Thank you so much. All right, so 2 ways that we can increase mathematical language and mathematical thinking, or mathematize, in toddlers and young children is by using these simple strategies: sportscasting and labeling. We are going to explore these more deeply in the next few slides. If you joined us for our session on language development in November, these strategies might sound really familiar. So first, we're going to look at sportscasting. And sportscasting is exactly what it sounds like. You act as a sportscaster using speech to highlight math concepts. So when you're with your child, you're going to narrate what they're doing and what's happening around them by adding as much math language as you possibly can. And this will help them to make connections between what they are observing and the concepts that you are drawing attention to. The great thing about this strategy is that you can incorporate it throughout your whole day. Don't worry about using words that you think might be too advanced for toddlers. As we've discussed in past sessions, exposing children to new words will help increase their vocabulary and will help them later when they're starting to read. So that's one of the great things about working with toddlers and preschoolers, that many of these skills that you're doing are interrelated. So in essence, you're getting more bang for your buck from a developmental perspective. And real quick, we could look at some examples to really make this concrete. So for numbers and operations, while your child's eating a snack, you might say, we have 4 slices of apple. Now let's eat each one, or now let's eat 1. Now we have 3. Let's count them, 1, 2, 3. Or an example of ordering might be, I'm lining up my shoes from biggest to smallest. Which one would come next? For measurement at the toddler level can be using math language like long, heavy, short, or light. You had a long nap today. This pumpkin, when you're at the pumpkin patch, this is a really heavy pumpkin. Remember that for toddlers, simple statements like this, it can introduce the idea of length and weight, and it can be a great opportunity to increase their math vocabulary through everyday tasks. And shapes and spatial relationships. You can use sportscasting to describe shapes and spatial relationships. It may sound like, wow, you're jumping up and down next to each other, or you're beside each other, or this pumpkin is so round. It helps also to use gestures when you're talking about these concepts and using math language. So this will help make the connections between the vocabulary and the concepts, while also allowing the children to use gestures when they are still developing their own language. I'm sure you've encountered these opportunities in your everyday schedule with your child. This shows us just how easy math is and how many ways we encounter it. So let's look at 2 more ways we can sportscast with our children.
And Whitney, I think Megan was able to get back on. Zoom let her back in. Megan, are you there?
I'm here. I'm so sorry, everyone. With technology, as soon as I went
back.
to unmute, it just completely crashed. I am back. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Whitney, for taking over.
No problem.
Whew, let's
We're
continue
finishing
on
this
sportscasting. All right, so sportscasting. So like what you just talked about, sportscasting, with those skills, we'll continue talking about sportscasting with patterns, relationships, and change, and then collecting and organizing information. And so for patterns, you can use sportscasting to point out patterns in the environment. Like if your child's wearing a striped shirt, you can say, look, you have a pattern on your shirt, pink, white, pink, white. Or even rhythmic patterns in music or dancing, even patterns in your daily routine, such as, first we brush our teeth. What happens after we brush our teeth? Right, we put on our pajamas. So just even thinking about like that schedule of your day, that routine. And then with relationships and change, the concept of change is a big concept. But really, when we're looking at it for our toddlers and our preschoolers, it can actually be pretty simple. Thinking of things like your diaper was dry and now it's wet. That is change. And then collecting and organizing information. We've touched on this in some past sessions, especially around sorting. And so once again, we're really trying to encourage you to think about sorting broadly, like you put all the yellow buttons in one pile, or you cleaned up all the Legos and put them in the correct bin. Cleaning up around the house is a great opportunity to engage with those math concepts and also learn some self-help skills. So now that you've heard about sportscasting, where do you see it fitting into your schedule? So in the chat, just drop in where you think this could fit into your day. Think about your routines around the house. Think about your routines with transitioning to school or the store or things like that. What are some ways or times that you could use sportscasting? Bath time, absolutely. Eating breakfast, definitely. Talking about how many things they're eating. Oh, and then riding in the car, pointing out signs. Exactly. Do you see that sign? Look at that sign that has a square shape. Things like that. Absolutely. So great, great examples. And so now we're going to talk about labeling, the other strategy that we can use. So infants and toddlers are learning language. So this is a fantastic time to introduce them to some new related math words. Labeling is just that. Thinking about all the words we use in our everyday interactions that actually have a math focus. Some of the words we've mentioned already are heavy, light, on, under, behind, add, subtract even, right? We may not be talking about adding and subtracting in the like equational sense, but adding things on, now you have more, etc. So what are some other words? You can see the list on the slide of some math words. What are some other words that you think we could add? So thinking about if we're describing something's size or measurements or shape or relationships, or even comparing something to something else, think about what are some words, what are some of those math words that we could use? Bigger, smaller, absolutely. Great, great examples. Nesting, that's a great one, absolutely. Thinking about the shapes you see around outside, right? Stronger, weaker, parallel to, right? We told you all, don't be afraid to use some of those higher level vocabulary words with your children. You're definitely exposing them to those different words and giving them a chance to see the connection to those concepts. Higher, lower, there we go. Higher, lower, sorting, classifying. You all see, and I'm sure you all are using so many of these words in your daily lives already with your children. And so it's just really thinking about it and paying attention to that. All right. And so now that we've discussed those two simple strategies of sportscasting and labeling that you can use at your home every day to mathematize, we're going to hear from Ms. Kumar, who's one of our fabulous pre-K teachers, about how she supports math throughout the day at school and some things that you can also do at home with your child. So I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Kumar.
I think you have to unmute Ms. Kumar.
Yes. Thank you so much, Whitney and Megan, for sharing all those awesome strategies, mathematizing, sportscasting and labeling. Those are awesome, awesome strategies. And I just want to say that they are simple, yet you have to be intentional. So being intentional to use the math vocabulary is the key. So how do I do in my classroom is like, math is fun. It's throughout the entire day. So when the kids come in, we count how many are here, how many are absent. So that's the first thing. And in the morning meeting, we talk about, sometimes when we have the focused morning meetings about math concepts, we talk about how many windows do we have in our classroom, how many bathroom doors and all of that. And in our class, the classroom is divided into centers. So in music and movement, where the kids can have their musical instruments and they can beat a rhythm. And in toys and game center, a lot of hands-on manipulators where they can count and they can make patterns, they can measure. So it's a lot of math and sand and water where they're measuring and weighing things, science and discovery, dramatic play where there are a lot of things that they have where they are cooking and kind of trying to look at the recipes, like how much of the things that we're going to add, and in block center and art. So basically in all the centers, we do have lots of activities where they are doing hands-on activities and thinking about math skills. So I would like to share some of the strategies some of the simple things that you can do at home. Next slide, please. So these are simple things that you will find at home, and I would encourage you to think about how could you use these materials, thinking about math. Please share that in chat. So let's see, these are just simple everyday, like buttons and bottle caps, sand, and during breakfast time. How are some things that you can already, you have at home? How can you use those things? Sorting by color, yes. Making patterns, of course, yes. Very good. And size, yes. Sorting by size and shape. And these are simple items that are found in our house. So yes, sensory bins. Yes, absolutely, that's awesome. So a lot of things can be done using the materials that we already have at home. Just thinking about, using the math vocabulary and comparing and asking for colors and size. And I want to share some of the things that we can use some materials from home. Next slide, please. So this is like a fun activity they can do. So you can take a plastic plate and just put the numbers, and take another paper plate, and put the dots, like, the pepperoni pizza, whatever you can call, like tomatoes, any type of topping that they would like, you can decorate, but you can make that. And just ask them to, match it with the number. So you can call out the number. You can say, let me see, where is 2? And like, if they can find out the paper plate, the dots, and kind of match with it. So they can go through all of those pieces and do the counting. 1, 2, okay, I found 2. So let's see if you can find the number 2 on the plate. And they can do this matching game. This is a fun way to connect the numerals with the quantity. The next one. This is another fun way of talking about the numbers and recognizing the numbers. So this is like a lacing activity that you can do. So the numbers are put in random order. So they have to kind of start with number 1 and see where 2 is. So go towards 2 and then 3. So they have to find the numbers that they come in order, in sequence. So it's a fun way to keep them engaged. And it's materials are, you can use the paper towel, cut them into small pieces, as you can see in the picture. So it's a fun way to show them the numerals and the order of the numerals. This is fun activity, and I use it in my classroom, and kids just love it. So all the different types of cars that they have, you can just put the numbers on the cars, and the parking lot can have the dots. So they have to take their car to the matching number. So kind of connecting the number with the quantity. So it's a fun way for them to drive the cars and take it to the parking lot and do the matching. It's so much fun for them. Yes. So this is one of the fun activity that we have been doing in our class. We have been talking about clothes. And this is, again, connecting numerals with quantities. And so this is done only on a cardboard. I just put some, shirts and pants on one side, and caps, and kind of giving them a clue of, if they want to see 9. So also there are like 9 dots. So connecting the numeral with quantities already there, and all they have to do is use the clothespin to find the matching numbers. So again, it is also helpful for your fine motor skills. So this is fun way for them to, find the numbers and count and match those clothespin. And here is another game, counting buttons. And I know the picture is not that much visible in this, but I can show you. I have it right here. So it's like, I just drew it on the valve, on this cloth, the shirt. So what they have to do is they have to roll the dice. So first, both the students will have 10 buttons each. So both of them are starting with 10 buttons. So they have to roll the dice. And if they have like 5, so they're going to put 5 buttons on the shirt. And then each one will take turns. And whoever will have all the buttons on the shirt first is going to be the winner. It is so much fun. It's so much fun to see them counting on the dice and counting the buttons and putting on the shirt. And they just want to, finish and be the winners. So you can do this at home, and you can start with 10 and you can keep on adding more, 15, 20, however, or you can start with 5 just to, have some fun and then increase the number of items. I just took buttons, but it can be anything that you can, the bottle caps or anything that you can find at home. So, another fun activity you all can do at home is the scavenger hunt. So asking for, go and look for a square shape. Like, can you go and find things that are in square shape? So let them go around and look and find, and they can draw, or they can come and tell you like what are the things they saw that are square or circle or triangle. Or you can also ask them, go find the colors. So, and also objects. And I think that's a good one for increasing their vocabulary. So scavenger hunt is always fun. And if you can also include math in scavenger hunts, so you can say, can you go find me 2 cups, or get me 2 spoons, or can you bring me 2 shirts or 3 shirts, something. So it's scavenger hunt is so much fun, and just kind of being mindful about how you can mathematize it, and kind of add those things while they're doing this scavenger hunt. And I know we did a lot of scavenger hunt activities when we did virtual teaching, and it was really so much fun to see them, how they were so excited to go and find something and bring it back and show it to you. So spatial awareness, this is another math concept, which is, it looks like, what are we going to do in this? But it's so simple and it's so fun. So this picture that you're seeing here is just a cup. I made a little entrance, like a kind of a thing, so the ball can go inside. So talking about, can you put this ball inside the cup? Can you put on top of the cup? Can you put it behind the cup? Can you put it next to the cup? So this is just one simple example, but you can just have fun asking them to stand behind a chair, or under the chair, or under the table, next to or between the chairs. It's a simple thing, but so much fun you can have with your child at home too, with this spatial awareness. Patterns are everywhere, and this is so much fun to talk about patterns. In my class, we love doing patterns, and with clothing study that we have been doing, we have done so many different types of patterns. So I just want to talk about a few different types of patterns. The first one is kinesthetic patterns, like making patterns with your body. So we could do tap your chest, then tap your head, tap your chest, tap your head, tap your chest, tap your head, or touch your nose, touch your ears, touch your nose, touch your ears. Or it could be jump, jump, stop, jump, jump, stop. So like kind of using our body to make patterns, and little kids, they really have fun. And once you start playing with them, this kind of like a pattern game, allow them to be the leader, allow them to lead it. So, and I'm sure they will have fun telling you what to do next, like what their pattern is going to look like and how they want to do it. The next one is sound patterns. So I just took 2 spoons and it makes sounds. So think about a pattern. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, like the beats. So they can make sound pattern with any items that are found at home, any items from kitchen or from their toys or anything around that you think is safe. So be mindful about, like, is it safe for them to use it? And so let them make some sounds and make some patterns. And sound patterns can also you can just make say some you can make some sounds like beep beep broom broom, beep beep broom broom, so that can also come under sound patterns. So let them have fun making some different noises, either by themselves or using some materials. Shape patterns. So kind of looking around, if you see any shape and color pattern. So like, oh, I'm wearing a pattern today. Look at my pattern. Let's see, that's blue, green, orange, purple. Blue, green, orange, purple. So anything, anytime if they are wearing a pattern, just point it out, like, oh, I see you're wearing a pattern today. Let's see what is your pattern, and kind of talking about it. So that's like, I mean, patterns are everywhere. So kind of, making a point to, if you come across a pattern, point it out and talk about it. And also allow them to go look for a pattern. This is my pattern. Can you go make your own pattern, or go and look for a pattern that you can find in our house, or even if you're outside, you can talk about it. So patterns can be, is everywhere. And I love to sing some songs with patterns. And what we do in our classes, like, I can make a pattern. I can make a pattern. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Head, nose, head, nose, head, nose. What comes next? Try your best. And then they'll tell you what comes next. So fun ways, so kind of bringing music also in and having fun, making patterns. Next. So measuring time. So this is, sometimes it looks like, how could our toddler or little kids can tell time? But yes, they can. They can look at the sequence of what's happening in their day, and they can tell about what are we going to do after toothbrushing, or what do we do before toothbrushing? And that's measuring time for our little ones. So kind of, in a fun way, talking to them about, what's going to happen next, or what are we going to do before. And this also helps them to ease all that anxiety that they have. So that's also going to make them help to understand what their day is going to look like. Even if you have a plan of going outside for shopping, or just, going out to play. So if it's in the schedule, they kind of know it, and then they're ready for it. So measuring time can start really very early, as they start going outside and playing and shopping and everything that they're going to do with you. So they can, help you to understand, like, okay, yes, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for outdoor playtime, or I'm ready for shopping, or I'm ready for toothbrushing. So it's a simple thing, but, and here's the math in a fun way. And then measurement and comparison. This is one very, awesome activity that they would love to do at home, drawing their feet on the paper, and then every family member does it. And then they're comparing who has the biggest feet. Let's see who has the smallest, and the sizes, like the medium size. So it's like a simple thing, but how, these are some ways that you can include math, like mathematizing, using that comparison vocabulary and measuring. Next. I do have one activity that I would like to share. I just did not put it here, but it's right here. It's like a board game. I know we used to play snake and ladder, and so many other different types of board games. So, this is fun way, just like a piece of cardboard. And with the bottle caps, I made the circles and the numbers. This is from 1 to 30, but you can do 1 to 10 and have fun playing this board game. Yes, I think I just, was too fast telling you all those, but if you have any questions, let me know. Math is fun. Math is everywhere. It's for us to just be intentional to mathematize the entire day. So
I love that. Ms. Kumar, thank you so much for sharing all of those activities. I think it's really helpful for families to get a glimpse into some of the things that children are doing in pre-K so that they can start to think about the skills that their toddlers are working on as they enter pre-K, or if they've got a child currently in pre-K 3 or pre-K 4, things that they can easily be doing at home. So I'd like to invite all of the facilitators this evening to go ahead and hop on. And why don't we take some questions? So families, go ahead and enter any questions that you have in the chat, and then Florence will definitely check those in the Q&A. And then also some participants this evening entered questions that they'd like to be answered on the registration forms as well.
So Ms. Kumar, just to let you know, someone did say no questions here, but thank you very much. Lots of great suggestions and ideas.
okay, cool.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Kumar, and thank you, everyone. There's no questions in the chat just yet, but something that had come in beforehand, and this could be a question to any of you as educators and as parents as well. What are some ways to support a very active child with learning math skills? It's hard to get them to focus on anything.
I know, making more kinesthetic approach would really be helpful because, some learners are kinesthetic. So if your child is, really into a lot of movement, and also, while you are walking, you can make it like a little like fun way, like jump, jump, stop, jump, jump, stop. And then you can do some counting too, like 1, 2, stop, 3, 4, stop, something like that. And even just like, moving your body, simple exercises and counting. And usually in my class during transition, I always play this game like, it's going to be my turn and your turn. I will say 1, you say 2, I'll say 3, you say 4. And it is so much fun. And they kind of, they have to focus because now they need to, see what they have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Megan and Whitney would probably agree too, and you too, Ms. Kumar, that also sensory activities for children who are super active. So anything, with water or sand or things that they can touch and pour and dump and explore, concepts about weight and volume and measurement in that way tends to really help with engaging very active learners as well.
You don't need to have like a water table or a sandbox or anything like that. You can do these things while you're making dinner or during bath time of pouring and things like that. So you can do it just with the objects that you have in your house and build it into those daily routines.
Yes, I have a very active 5-year-old myself. So we used to count jumps. Sometimes I would count as he raced from one place to another. Let me see how fast you can get from here. Okay, it took you 5 seconds to get from here to there. Exercises have a lot of patterns in them. Okay, like even if you're doing a burpee, right? You hop up, you come down, you go back. So there are lots of different things. I would completely agree with, Ms. Kumar and Megan, that incorporating physical movement into it, and it hits on a lot of the areas as well. And hopefully they get really tired and they're ready to go to sleep after they jump.
Yeah. And I also found that, adding music it also makes them like, attracted towards it. And I think music is universal language. So anytime you bring in music and some kind of beats and everything, it's like they got the attention. They are with you.
Love that. Florence, any more questions that were entered in registration or any more questions that have come through in the chat?
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that, all those answers, and agree with the hopes for a child that goes to sleep earlier than not. There's another question here, and Ms. Kumar, I know that you've shared so much, but thinking about, especially where you teach, I know this will feel very relevant for you. There is a family that asked, we speak Spanish at home. Should we be working on these skills in English or Spanish when preparing our child to attend pre-K?
I would say Spanish. Continue to talk in your language, because English they're going to get anyway. And I would really appreciate parents, talking to them in their own language. And kids are like sponge, they get it all. So don't worry about teaching English to them. They're going to get it all. So, but for them to know their mother tongue is very important. I would really appreciate using Spanish language. If they are, speaking Spanish at home, they should continue using that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Kumar. Yes, for home language maintenance. When you're
Yes.
stronger in your home language, then you'll pick up a second or a third language even better.
Yes.
So, and the beautiful thing about math and Spanish is that numbers, right? The numbers are the same. And so the concepts and the numbers would be interchangeable, right? Since they look the same in both languages. Still no questions in the chat. Don't be shy, everybody. You can go ahead and type in. No, there's a lot of information, but we do have time. And there was another question submitted via the registration form around games or apps that would be recommended for younger children that might support math, if any of you have suggestions for that.
I would say, my opinion and my experience, based on my experience and opinion, I would say, like, having more kinesthetic or games or board games, that would be better rather than using any apps or any digital device. Maybe if at all you use digital device, maybe just for half an hour, 15 to half an hour limit. But other than that, going outdoors and playing some games or any other board games, as I mentioned, one of the board game right here, or any other games that can be made from simple items that are found in your house, that would be amazing. That would be the best.
Yeah, I want to second that as an educator. I will tell you, as a parent, my son gets a little bit more screen time than sometimes he probably should, but there are some really great apps. There's, I believe it's Toddler 1, 2, 3, where it's like matching and sorting, it's colors, it's shape, it's counting, and some spatial reasoning. So definitely outside and hands-on and movement first. But if you do find that, your child is on the tablet and you want them to be looking at something math related, there are some really great games that help them practice these sort of skills that are age appropriate as well.
I love that. Thank you, Whitney. Yeah, I think all of us can identify with our young children getting a little bit more screen time lately than we would have liked, but definitely continuing to increase that hands-on learning as well. All right, if there's nothing else in the chat, I'll go ahead and move on. Does that sound okay, Flo?
Yes, because I think what you're going to cover eventually, there is the question, is there a certificate for this webinar? But I know you're going to cover all the goodies that come after this.
Absolutely. Yes. And if you would like a certificate of attendance for the webinar, please just email us and let us know. Florence will be dropping some links and our email address in the chat, so you can definitely reach out to us and we can provide you a certificate of attendance, and also just answer any additional questions that you have. So if you think of something after the session that's related to early math or just related to another area of child development, please reach out and let us know. It's also enrollment season, so if you have questions about pre-K enrollment, you can reach out to us at the email that's provided in the chat too. And then as we're starting to wrap up, I do just want to remind everyone that, having questions or concerns about what your child should know and making sure that that they're on track, developmentally is something that, we all have on our mind and are constantly looking for tools and resources to use for this. And the CDC has a really great milestones tracker app. It's available in multiple languages. It's a really cool app. So check that out if you've got questions. It's by, age range. And then also, if you're thinking that your child might benefit from extra support or have any concerns, you can always reach out to early stages as well. And so we'll enter that information too. And so before you go, I do want to remind everyone that there is the link to a participant survey in the chat. Your feedback is so important to us. It's what we use to inform the content of the sessions. And we'd love to hear from you. So just by taking a minute to provide some feedback via the survey, you will be entered to win a bundle of children's books. And so this month it's math themed children's books, which will be really fun, goes with the session. So definitely take a minute to do that. You can get more information at readyforpk.org. And then I also want to plug our session that's coming up on April 20th with Dr. Tracy Baxley. It's the third and final in a series that we've been doing. And this session is called Stronger Together, moving from fear-based parenting to social justice parenting. And her first 2 sessions have been just amazing. And so we hope that you'll consider joining us for that one. And then as you all are leaving us this evening and getting back to your busy lives, and dinner time routines and bath time and bedtime and everything like that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let Megan share hers. And she's going to pull up a video of Scribbles doing a math activity. And so if you're not familiar with Scribbles, definitely check out our YouTube page. We have Scribbles, who's a puppet, who models different, fun, easy activities that parents and caregivers could do with little ones at home. And with that, have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining. All right, Megan, I'm going to stop sharing mine and let you pull that up as we close out this evening.
If you could disable, it's disabled right now for me to share, but if you could fix that, sorry. It's probably because I got kicked out.
I know.
I've ruined everything, guys. I'm so sorry.
If you go to security, Drew, and allow participants to share a screen, she'll be able to share.
Got it.
Let's see.
All right. Can you all see my screen?
Got it. There we go.
Perfect. And hopefully you can hear the sound. Let me know if you can't.
Oh, no.
No?
We thought we had a brilliant idea, but.
Sorry. Oh, no,
I think there's a button that will say share music or share video.
Yep, there sure is. Thank you. All right, one more time.
All sorts of technical difficulties.
Learning how to count each item in a group only once is hard for toddlers. Watch how Dana helps Scribbles figure out how many cups are needed for the iced tea party.
Dana!
Scribbles, how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
You're just in time for our iced tea party.
Oh wow, great. Can I join you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Look, here's Panda Poo
Okay.
and Fuchsia.
Hi, Panda Poo and Fuchsia. How are you guys today?
They're toys, Dana. They don't talk.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. Let's see. How many cups do we need?
A bunch.
A bunch. Usually, you have 1 cup per friend.
Okay.
Okay. So there's you. There's me. There's Panda Poo.
Yep.
And there's Fuchsia.
Yeah.
So how many friends is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14.
What?
I don't know. It's a bunch.
Wait a second. Slow down, Scribbles. Slow down. Let's go ahead. We'll count together, all right? Okay. So we need 1
For me.
for you, 2,
For you.
3,
Panda Poo.
and 4.
Fuchsia.
So we have 4 friends here with us today. So we need
4 cups.
there you go, 4 cups. All right, and they're the cups.
There
Let
they
me go
are.
ahead and pass them out for us, okay?
Okay.
Count with me. 1, 2, that one's for me, 3 for Panda Poo, and 4 for Fuchsia. There we go.
Yeah. We're really good at this.
We are. What else do we need?
Some straws.
Straws for the iced tea, of course. All right, so how many straws do we need?
Let me count.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 straws for 4 friends.
Yes, 4 straws for 4 friends.
There you go.
All right, great. Let me get them for you. Here we go. And let's count while we put them in the cups. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 straws for 4 friends.
Perfect.
Perfect.
This skill takes lots of practice. You can help your child by reminding them to touch each item as they go and to count slowly. Try placing the items in a line or putting your hand on theirs as you count together. There are many opportunities throughout the day to practice this skill, such as setting the table, preparing a snack, or counting your favorite toys.